To the hills. It's the Large Blast podcast. I'm your host, Stoney, and I'm joined, as always, by Matt
Sorry, I forgot what I was going to say.
and Welshie.
Oh, I'm very sleepy. Time to reanimate.
And that's right, reanimate we will, because today we're going to be talking about Necron 2 Worlds. But we get things kicked off like we always do. Hobbies, goings on, you know the score. Welshie, what's been going on in your host's hobby life?
Well, I finished a model, nice little diorama that I spent a while on. I think I said last episode I was trying to work out from the spares you delivered how to build an entire Custodes jet bike.
Yeah.
Um, but I've managed it, so have no fear. And then I realised when it came to spraying it that I had no gold spray paint. So I set myself the challenge of spraying the Custodes silver and not using any gold paint to paint the Custodes.
Nice. This is and you made this is a YouTube short as well, available on
Yeah.
YouTube there. Yeah, it came out real nice. Thought it looked cool.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's just contrast. I love playing with contrast paints, especially over metallics.
Because that's kind of what you do with your Slanesh one, isn't it?
Yeah,
You do it silver and then you get the pink over the top there.
yeah. Vulpus pink for my Emperor's Children over the silver, and yeah, I've used Nazdrag yellow alone for Nikolic, my the Necron army, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a bit. But yeah, I just think that makes life really nice. You don't have to go back and do a wash over it if you don't want. Sometimes I pick out like the very high highlights with gold, but I actually think this new mix, I mixed Snakebite leather and Nazdrag together. And sometimes you mix two contrast paints without getting like super nerdy here, but some of them are runnier than others. And I
Mm,
find that in that mix, the yellow sticks to the top and you get a really nice bright finish, and the snakebite really settles in the corners.
yeah.
So you get a nice kind of dark, like a patina gold effect rather than just like super shiny.
I think actually that explain all my sisters, I do the same thing with the yellows. I get three, the Iandan yellow, snakebite leather, and the one you mentioned, the one that's
Nazdrag. Yeah.
yeah. Get the three open and just like let it pool, just
Mm.
with a brush, just dip or have them on my wet palette and just mix all the three colors.
Yeah,
And they do kind of pool, the snakebite pools at the bottom.
it's definitely something to play around with. I've also found like if you go really thin with some of them, you can almost add like a completely different color over the top. Like I'm playing around at the moment with like a really light pink first for orc skin, and then that kind of pulls in the dark bits. And if you put a thin green over the top, the green sticks to the higher bits and mixes with the pink in the lower bits and makes a kind of like a bit of a contrast. So yeah, they're definitely, if you're using contrast, you've been using them for years now, just try mixing random colors together and seeing how they look, especially on like a dry brushed, or what do they call it, where you
Xenophil highlight.
zenithal highlight. Yeah,
Hmm.
if you do a zenithal first, you can get some real interesting color mixes
That's
with them.
that's funny you say that because I've done the same thing on those pilgrims. I need to take some photos of them that I've done the Imperial pilgrims.
Yeah,
Um, because I kind of just wanted to just make them look a bit dirty and ramshackled and a little bit like when you see them, you don't really know what color they're painted with.
sure. Yeah.
Hmm.
And I did sort of the same thing, just mix them up, just just sort of mix the paint on the models
Yeah.
almost, and also
It's
on the palette.
nice.
Yeah,
In a world where the paint schemes are getting increasingly cartoony, as we've talked about before, like not everything has to be solid block heavy metal, and if you want to
yeah.
just slap some washes on, go for it, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I thought that worked really well on the sword that you did as well on there. The what was it? The
Oh, the power
demon
sword.
guy. No, the like demon guy. How he's got that
Oh,
sword that was like blended from dark to
yeah, so that
light,
was just
and
like a fire sword on the bloodletter.
yeah, and it
And
was
literally,
just
if you put on the colors wet, so that was just black, then red, then orange, then yellow,
mm,
all wet in bands, and just letting them run into each other, like extreme wet blending.
yeah, because that
And for
was just
things like
contrast
fire, it
as well.
worked.
Was that
Yeah,
was
all
yeah,
for contrast.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, there you go. So yeah, check that out. Have a look at uh, some silver gold or some whatever. What's it? Yellow gold. I just paint them
Yeah.
gold. I don't know what you guys are talking about. It's supposed to be gold. Just paint them gold. You know what I mean? Matt, what have you been up to?
Sort of same sort of stuff as last week, fiddling around with the same sort of projects. I decided not only was it not enough to have finished building the Leviathan box set, but I'd also finished building the Cadian box set, apart from the Sentinel, which I appear to have lost in the loft somewhere because I might sell that on. But everything else is built from that and base coated, all the Cadians I've got left to do. And then I decided a couple of days ago that actually the Death Core of Krieg box, which I sort of half built, should come down from the loft and I should finish them. I had sort of a desire to at least finish one of the horses, the cavalry. Yeah, I'm kind of looking at it and thinking that I'm gonna build the big siege gun that it came with and paint that. My my paint scheme for the Krieg is really quick. So and the horses are base coated white, and then everything else is black. So I've kind of base coated it in sub assemblies. So it should be really quick to do. I guess probably it's all sort of in the back of my mind that I've got that other guard box that I ordered last episode coming. Not sure when. I don't know how quickly stuff turns around now from Games Workshop.
From
But
pre-order time, it's about 3 weeks, I think, is it
is
these
it?
days?
Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, you're not alone there, Matt, in having a bit of plastic crack regret because I dropped a hundo, big hundo pounds, bought myself an entirely unnecessary night box.
Oh,
Really?
what?
What,
Oh.
Imperial Knight?
Yeah.
Really? What
I
does
was
it?
gonna try and get through this without mentioning it, but I needed to confess, boys. I needed to confess.
Oh
It was
man.
it was one of those Armageddon like big boxes, and it was
Yeah.
just the savings were ridiculous. It was 45% off, so it was a
Yeah, that's
hundred
good.
quid for a big night and two of the Armageddon nights, and for a
Hmm.
hundred quid, I was like, that's an insane cost. I can't pass it up. So now I've just got a big box of plastic nights that I can't really be asked to paint. I thought, oh, it'll be nice to do a
How
load of
Mate,
freehand.
it
Bargain,
took you like
bargain.
years. Did it take you like years to paint your other night? I remember that. So that was like a project that I did take like
Well,
3 years or something.
my standard Imperial Knight Bumblebee, you might remember the yellow and black one, that like standard Imperial Knight size. That I did in a couple of months. But
Oh,
you're
okay.
right. The last night I painted was a Forge World
Yeah.
Acastus, and it took me 4.5 years.
Oh
So
Yeah.
man.
yeah, don't expect anything
You've
soon.
got to remember something's only a bargain if you actually need it or want.
Yeah, I know I've got to remember, but I bought it now and I've
It's
magnetized it
here.
already. It's here.
You've magnetized it already as well. Damn,
Yeah.
that's quick
Have
work.
you? So I guess because it's not a pre-order, so you got that already.
Yeah, because that came out. It wasn't the latest Armageddon Battalion box. It was like the Eye of Terror box, a cut like last month or something. I think
Right.
6 weeks ago they released like they also released a box set that was two repulsors and two dreadnoughts. They're just
Right.
clearing stuff from the shelves before 11th, aren't they? Really, at the end of the day. But yeah, from a small independent dealer, it was just so cheap. And there's so many spare bits in those night boxes. Like if I want to use it for my chaos
Yeah.
Yeah.
army and stuff, then it just seemed like a good idea at
So,
the time till they
so do,
arrived.
do you think do you know what you're going to do with it? Are you going to pay it up for your Raven Guard or something?
I'm probably going to keep it with House Hawkshroud, that black and yellow that my other knight is. But my other that night, I had all the symbology on it is like half their symbol and half Raven Wing. So I've cut their symbols like a hawk. So it's a hawk on one side and like a raven on the other, like they've been fighting together for years. So I'll probably keep it the same.
Fair play.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, that would be kind of interesting then to have one that you did so long ago, and one that you did recently, like
Yeah, I
as
think
a
so. I quite
comparison.
like doing that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Ah.
What
Well,
about you, Tony? What have
that was
you?
an unexpected bombshell, actual Warhammer bombshell. And speaking of unexpected Warhammer bombshells, I've got my new 3D printer, sat here on my desk, whirring out models as we speak. So,
Oh,
whirring out test prints for my Gene Stealer, my Alien Corporation that I've been making. So, yeah, that's very exciting news. More bombshells, actual Warhammer bombshell
Wow.
things happening here at the Large Blast podcast.
hell yeah.
That's
You'll be
been
able to find those on the Colts 3D at some point, the
you
STLs,
will,
once you
yeah, definitely.
finalize them.
Yeah, absolutely, you will. Which is, yeah, don't get me started on the Colts 3D. They've just changed the whole way that they pay you system thing going on. So it's all, they made me have to sign up to a whole bunch of bullshit internet nonsense. It's a whole bunch of,
Ah,
yeah. But so anyway, but we're still going. Colts 3D is still going. And And yeah, I've got at the moment 5 test prints, well, 5 basically final prints for my models that I've been making. Yeah, so they're going real well. They're looking good. But the thing is now I've got these kind of models going. I've like, because I'm basically going to eventually have an army, and that's kind of got me thinking. Oh, I kind of want to play Warhammer, because if you've got an army, what do you do? You paint it and play Warhammer. And for the first time in a long time, I'm suddenly like, shit. I've got the
You want to
army.
roll
I
some
kind of
dice.
want to.
Very nice.
I might want to roll some dice. So I'm kind of thinking, but here's the thing as well: is because I'm making this random alien corporation that doesn't necessarily have anything to do with Warhammer or whatever, and like I can kind of tell when I'm sort of talking about it and things to people, I can kind of see them glazing over a little bit with the kind of the like, oh, here we go. This isn't sort of Warhammer shit, or like this isn't something I could kind of believe is like kind of Warhammer-y type shit. Do you know what I mean? So but then I was kind of thinking about like what Gav Thorpe was saying all those years ago. It all starts with the lore, doesn't it? So one of the things I was kind of thinking about doing with this release as well is to make a sort of a PDF set of rules, like a kind of a codex that goes with them, that you get with every sort of download of models that you get. So it'll basically just be like a rewritten version of the codex, just with their lore in and some rules just renamed, essentially. Things like that, cool. Just some sort of explanation for lore and stuff. And I just thought that would be quite a cool way of kind of having them as something which you could then, obviously you just, for all intents and purposes, it's just the rules, but they've got like a nice, cool, like little lore book that goes with them and stuff.
Yeah, that sounds cool. Oh man, there's whispers of a very early plan, and by whispers I mean I suggested it. But wouldn't it be funny to take your fully painted Gene Stealer cult adjacent Alien Xenos Corporation to Warhammer World for their first game with your codex, with your printed homemade
see how long
codex?
They last. You get arrested.
They're just confiscate it off me, and then 2 years later it would be all like, oh, look what's happened. Alien Corporation has come out, appeared in Necromunda. Oh yeah, well, you know how it is.
Finance, cutting-edge technology. Accurate information is the Large Blast podcast news. Hear every episode.
Speaking of things that you might waste your money on coming up soon, Welshie, the 11th edition box set has also been revealed.
Hell yeah. I mean, that's the news all 30 of our fans are waiting for us to talk about. I guess we better go through the box, boys. 11th edition. And more annoyingly, having just bought this night box and Matt trying to clear his sprues, have you seen the date?
Yeah, it's really soon, isn't it?
Yeah, middle of June.
They couldn't believe it. Yeah.
Outrageous.
It's really quick turnaround.
Yeah. I mean,
well, they saved a lot of time on those Space Marines, didn't they? So it was,
yeah, we'll discuss that now. But I was hoping to have my new Warhammer room ready by the launch for this, but alas. All right, should we do the Space Marines first because there's less to say?
Okay, yeah, let's talk about some of these Space Marines. The stars of the show, the cover boys, the Blood Angels.
Hell yeah. Not blue. Interesting.
Not blue. But we've got the captain with the relic shield, cool-ass little hairdo. He's nice, I like him.
Yeah, he's all right, yeah.
What's going on with these rocks, though? What the fuck is it? Why is there so many rocks? But and also, why are they all the same rock? Can we not mix it up a bit?
I'm assuming, as parents, neither of you managed to watch the full live show at 7 o'clock when it released.
No, but I did flick through a bit on the YouTube afterwards.
Well, Stoney,
I don't know if you caught the new episode of Teletubbies, Matt, but I think
I did as well. Yeah, we watched that live. That was live. Yeah.
Yeah.
Stoney in particular will have enjoyed their absolute dose of copium of the guys trying to explain the tactical rocks. They didn't shy away from it. Eddie, the presenter, he said, well, yeah, the rocks are there. There's been lots of comments about the tactical rocks, but it really goes in line with the kind of terrain that you find on Armageddon.
Come on, man. I mean, just mix it up at least a little.
Jesus. He was like, yeah, well, the terrain on Armageddon is classically very spiky and rocky. And it was like, is this a joke? Are you really trying to sell us on this? What are you doing?
I think this model would look better if he was just stood on his base.
Yeah. I mean, I completely agree.
And the feet are not out of level. You could just have a base with a sloping slant to it and just put him on his feet and it would look great.
At least the front foot should be touching the ground. Do you know what I mean? Like, if they wanted to raise the back foot a bit, fair play, whatever. But, like, for fuck's sake, man. It's like
also
5% rock.
It also makes it really difficult because some of my firstborn models, like my Grey Knights, to make them look more to scale, I stuck a base on a base to raise up their height. But if the new models are coming out on rocks on bases, then I'm going to need a base on a base on a base to get a firstborn to the
What's
It's a
scale.
going on
base
here?
arms race.
But yeah, I agree. It's a cool model. He's had a downgrade on the shield from the last captain, but I don't think there's anything wrong with that for Space Marines. Fun. Good guys.
Again, they can't make him too fancy because some of the others are a bit shit, aren't they? So
Yeah.
you don't want him.
For sure.
He stands out for being good, but you don't want to make him.
Take observant note of the color of the purity seals that are of slight pink. If you want to know more about that, listen to episode 100, the purity seals.
The Purity
episode.
Seals special. Lots of people online know nothing about warfare, complaining that he's got two swords. Like I saw so many comments of people like, if he's already got a power sword, why has he got a sword on his belt? It's like, have you ever looked at like historical war gear? Like,
Yeah.
But he should have another scabbard though. Then does he have to switch? Has he got one scabbard for both swords? So he's got to like switch it out.
I don't think that one would fit.
The
I know
scabbard
that would be really funny if you had to put that one in there. Maybe he puts it in his back like He-Man. That would be kind of cool.
Librarian in the box, just a standard librarian, a straight copy of the old librarian glow up.
I thought the pose is cool. I like the pose. Yeah.
This librarian's utilizing the tactical rock. Does that make it better?
I prefer this rock. on today's episode of Rock Watch, I kind of prefer the librarian's rock because it is being, like you say, utilized. It's kind of moving with the power of the spell that he's casting.
Yeah.
But still,
I like that. So the two models we just looked at, for me, when I saw them, they're like the models that Games Workshop would like to have designed 20 years ago.
I agree with the abilities that they have now in the design function. For sure.
They're very traditional.
I don't think there's anything wrong with this librarian. I don't like the librarian color scheme. I don't like the bright yellow tubes. I've always hated it, but it's a classic. It's a classic look. So fair play. The chaplain we talked about last episode. I'm still not about floating on a little bit of smoke on a jagged rock.
That smoke thing, we did talk about it last episode. I didn't really pay it much mind, but I saw a picture of this recently where it showed you for some reason it made a feature of the fucking rock on Rock Watch now, Chaplain Rock Watch. Like him spun round and they showed you the back of the rock and the smoke's just emanating from nowhere. It's just a little foot guff that's coming out.
How does it end? Does it just stop at the bottom of his foot? It just stops
in the rock. It's a nonsensical gust of guff. It just makes no sense.
Awful. Yeah.
Chemtrails.
Again, though, if I would cut that rock and smoke off, but I'd like the model.
I like the model. I don't think there's anything wrong. It's a fine chaplain.
It's very traditional.
I find with modern chaplains the croziuses are always too small. I always extend the crozius, but other than that,
you mean wider? Right. The actual
just a little bit longer, and the weapon head a little bit bigger as well.
Yeah.
But he's also like got weird little wing situations getting a bit out of
hand.
He's actually got those on the back of his legs as well, which is something else I noticed from the arse view that I saw earlier.
Seems unnecessary, doesn't it? The little wing things.
Little flaps.
I'll talk more. I've got some bones to pick with jetpacks in a minute. Don't you worry, Stoney.
All right.
Ancient, I thought was a really nice banner.
Yeah.
Most of it's sculpted on, but they've left the chapter section flat, so you can put whatever your chapter is on there.
This, I think, was one of the Space Marine models that I really thought I can't. I mean, it's pretty simple, but I did like it. It really caught my eye. I think it's nice to get a standard bearer model that is in a bit more of a pose than just stood upright banner. And there's a bit of he's got his finger or his thumb on the edge of the banner, so he's kind of I think there's a bit more going on there, a bit more battle pose than normal, and this one caught my eye.
Although standard bearer Rock Watch This is one of the most unnecessary rocks yet, I'd say. I feel like why
completely agree.
Why is that left foot on a rock? It's like what's that about? That's got to be like a good couple of like maybe a quarter of a centimeter or whatever, a millimeter, sorry, a quarter of a millimeter or whatever, just fucking off the ground for no reason.
Sometimes I can grudgingly accept that the rock is to kind of draw your eye in a line, but your eye's already drawn to the banner. Whatever's going on at his left foot doesn't make any sense.
That is the most unnecessary rock. Yeah, that's a bullshit rock. His other leg's a bit raised, but what happened to a good old book? What happened to sitting on a book or a skull?
Or just put it on that skull that's slightly to the left.
He's already got a skull. Put the skull
just
there.
A different texture on the base, like sort of. I don't know how to describe it.
Crushed tank or something.
Earth or like earth. Yeah. Earth doesn't just come in flat or rock. There's like
some There's got to be some old vape pens around and a couple of bottles of Buckfast.
All right, so that was the character section of the box. And then when I watched the reveal show, I was kind of down on the whole thing. And I had to remind myself at the end that some people buying this will be getting into Warhammer for the first time. And it does just need to be a box of Space Marines. And the fact that there's an Intercessor squad is okay because people need them. So with that, the Intercessor squad.
Yeah, very plain. I mean, like you say, it is what it is. Are these new? They must be new sculpts.
They're new poses and stuff. I think they're quite characterful, actually, more so than some previous Intercessor boxes.
Yeah, I quite like the
guy looking down the scope.
Guy or whoever he is. He's
the sergeant's
nice.
got a rock, Stoney. I don't know if you saw on his left foot.
Oh, yeah.
But at least it's part of the pose, you know. It's like it's a small, unintrusive rock. Fine, that's how I like him.
That's the best review you're going to get for this squad of standard Space Marines, so we'll move on. Then we get to to be honest, the only massive miss of the box for me. These Vanguard veterans.
I've got to say, maybe it's because my eye's attuned to it now, but Rock Watch has not been kind to this squad, has it? These are some very jagged, unnecessary rocks, I feel.
Just that's not how rocks ever are.
No, I mean, whatever. They're a bit lame. We talked about one of them. We talked about one of them last time, didn't we?
Yeah. I've narrowed down why I think they're lame. I compared them to the current Vanguard veterans, and armor-wise, they're not that different to the current ones. The current ones don't have much more bling on than these guys. There's two things that make these guys terrible, in my opinion. One, the Buzz Lightyear jetpacks and their curved, stupid outside bits are awful. And the fact that there's not a single bit of extra decoration on them is rubbish. And I'll be ripping them off and putting the old square ones on. That's an easy fix. But two, the coolest thing about the Vanguard veterans was that they had really cool weapons. You had a Storm Hammer and a Storm Shield and a Thunder Hammer. You had double lightning claws. You had basically everything in that box, and they've given you 5 swords.
You said, I mean, I agree, but it is a starter set. I would suggest the third reason, and actually, apart from the rocks, for me, my two things I really don't like about them are the rocks, and two, some of them look like their legs are just too close together.
Like a bit fairy prancy.
The model in the middle is like
I really hate that.
There's the legs are just so like nothing. They look like the old school Space Marine models.
Yeah, and I kind of feel like if you're going to be wielding a double-handed sword, the sword should be like noticeably really quite large. Where the sword he's got kind of looks the same size as the other swords.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Swords are a massive miss for me. To not have storm shields.
Well, you say that, Welshie, but the upgrade kit is just on the horizon, so don't worry about it.
You're joking, but it literally
I'm not joking. I'm not. I feel like it probably... Yeah, you're right. We're all right. It's definitely coming.
I've got a bits box full of shields, so these guys will be getting a Large Blast Studios makeover, don't you worry.
Nice.
Okay. Some fat boys with bolters. I really quite like these. I like Gravis armor. I think it's cool.
Heavy weapon boys, looking
heavy
cool.
Bolters.
Another
I like the shields.
Good rock watch, strong.
Yep.
10 out of 10 for rocking.
There was a lot of
Good.
memes with the guy who's got his foot on the rock watch along the lines of "Get me closer so I can shoot them with my little gun," which
Yeah.
I thought was quite good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you've got to have one guy not just stood there with his gun, otherwise they look quite boring as a
He's
set.
doing one of those challenges, like in video games where it's like kill 10
Yeah.
people with the knife or something like that.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I've got to get 20 kills with my fucking pistol.
Yeah.
And then the only real out of the blue thing for me that I just
Yeah.
didn't see coming in this
Yeah.
box is a return of a classic, the Land Speeder.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. This is
This-
really cool.
Yeah.
But hold your horses. And you know what I'm going to say. Because this thing is, I didn't even see this. I'd only seen the Land Speeder model. I hadn't seen the Guff-powered rock. Again, this is the worst of every world. It's got a random spiky rock, and it's got the same fucking Chaplin mysterious random Guff smoke coming out that's holding it up. This is
You're right.
yeah. But the rest of it, the Land Speeder looks cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man. I mean, it's a classic, isn't it? It's a
Yeah.
classic
It
silhouette.
is such a
Oh,
classic.
yeah.
This really did get me excited when I went back and flicked through the 1.5 hour video or however long it was of them
Yeah.
opening the box.
And they
This
put
is-
it
I
next
mean,
to the
this-
Storm Speeder as well, and it is smaller, so it won't look out of place with a
Yeah,
Storm. I've got
yeah.
2 Storm Speeders for my Raven Guard, and this is going to fit
The-
nicely in the middle.
Definitely cut off the bottom bit and put an
Old school
acrylic stand
plastic
in
flight
it.
stands.
Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
that's what I'm doing.
But this really made it feel when they presenting it with the whole Space Marine army in front of them, and you see the picture of the box set with the orcs having the Land Speeder in. I guess because it goes back to 3rd edition had a Land Speeder in. It really made it feel like a traditional starter box set with this
Yeah.
Land Speeder in. So I think maybe that's where they've done it, but this is brilliant. Yeah,
I kind
I
of
like
don't
seeing
like
this.
the heads of the Space Marines.
Yeah, I was just
Don't like
looking
the
at that, the
helmet.
weird
Be
They're-
grill.
changing them. Yeah,
It's got like a weird bit on top that doesn't really look like anything, like just a weird square.
oh yeah, easy
Anyway.
change there.
Yeah,
Mm.
again, easy change. Yeah,
I
in
quite like
fact,
the idea of putting the banner on the back of the Land Speeder,
Yeah,
because I'm not going to use that ancient, but a banner on there would be cool.
the perfect model would be to get that original Land Speeder, that lead one, and then
I've
put
got
it
one,
on.
Stoney.
Well, get that and put it on the Guff stand of this one, and there you
It's
go.
never gonna. It'll crush. It'll
Yeah.
crush that Guffy
It'll
rock
crumble
with
to
its
dust.
immense weight. Yeah. Right. On to the Orcs, boys. Big new war boss. This is where the models get well excited, in my opinion. I love this whole half of the box. I'll say it straight out before we've even been through it.
yeah, this is cool. Is this the one we saw before?
We haven't seen this one yet. This
Nah,
is the war
okay.
boss. This is the number
Yeah, this
one
is great.
dude in the
Great
Oh,
box.
model.
cool. Nice.
He's got there's a new rule that they previewed, new weapon rule in 11th called cleave, and apparently this chain axe has got cleave, and it means you can take out multiple small models in one swing and stuff.
Oh,
so
that's great. That's great.
Sweet.
that seems pretty cool. Big chunky boy.
So he's in there getting kills, in meleeing it up, cleaving through loads of models at a time.
Absolutely, the way he should be. And he's got his own banner. Orcs carry their own banner on their own
Oh.
backs.
Oh my god, this it also started to get me excited, and it did make me think: are we going to see the return of shoulder backpack standard bearers in the
I hope
Space
so.
Marines? Like, why does the Space Marines not have banners on their backpacks anymore? That's what I want to see. This is what it reminded me of.
Eldar
Yeah.
have got them, you know.
Yeah, they
So-
wait. It's only a matter of time.
Well, I'll be excited to
Well-
see what you think about the big boss, because he's the next level down boss, kind of lieutenant range, I guess. He's also carrying his own banner, but it's kind of like a horn banner. But he's not stood on rock. He's stood on other battlefield debris.
He is, and he's got a little mate as well. So obviously, 10 out of 10 rock watch. Yeah,
Good axe as
perfect
well.
rock. Good, great
strong
axe. The model that comes with the rock is also pretty nice. I like him a lot. I like his shoulder pads. So it's got a very Mad Maxi vibe. This dude,
Yeah,
like it's like it's made
Absolutely.
out of tires.
yeah, yeah. Way too. I hadn't really noticed how big they are, but yeah, I enjoy that. Interested to see what you boys think about the color of orcs now. I'm just painting an orc at the moment, so I've done some research. Orcs used to be very dark green, and they seem to be getting lighter and lighter.
Yeah, you said that last time. I mean, that
Yeah,
big boss model that we looked at just now was, the other guy. Yeah, he looked a
He's
bit
more
darker.
he's a
The
bit
traditional.
war
darker.
Yeah.
boss,
Yeah,
yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I quite like the way that they do this thing where, like, on this guy's hands, the war boss, the big boss, sorry, that we're looking at, the sort of lighter of the orc. They've kind of painted his knuckles and stuff lighter colors and things. I don't know, but I quite like that. But I don't know. I don't really have a strong feeling about it. Any people can paint their orcs whatever they want.
Yeah.
I saw someone the other day do a really cool blue orc army, and that got me
Ooh,
thinking.
sneaky.
Yeah,
Right. Next one, a bigger banner. Orcs carry their own banner and they have a knob to carry a banner for them. This guy
yeah.
really showing up the other banner guy, in my opinion.
yeah. This guy's the start. This
This
guy's he's
this
got some riz, as the kids
this
say.
guy's great. These three orcs we've looked at, I think I have the same comment as I did with the Space Marines. This is like exactly what Games Workshop would have wanted to have made 20 years ago. This is hitting me with third edition, fourth edition vibes.
Really is. And also a nod to a classic and favourite of our lore. If you look very carefully under his hair, you can see two little toes. That is, in fact, a hair squig.
Oh, excellent.
Oh shit! Oh, amazing. He's got a little squig on his base as well.
Yeah.
Double squigging it, this guy.
Yeah,
One for the
excellent.
hair, one for the. He's got a rock though.
10 out of 10. Rock Watch, 10 out of 10. Another perfect. These guys know what they're doing. The orcs so far. I mean, come on, magnifique.
Yeah,
Except for that one guy up top there with his unnecessary rock. All these other guys have been fucking nailing it. And you stick a squig on a rock. Come on, that's
cancels the
everyone.
rock out.
Take
Cancels
my
it out.
money. I'm getting them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, now the next one is the Pain Boy, the last character in this box. And I think when we did favourite models ever, I think Pain Boy was in my top three, the one looking up at his claw. So I'm interested to see what you guys think of the new Pain Boy.
Uh, First reaction was, oh, I like that. And then I'm like, uh, yeah, I like it. I love the piece of equipment that he's carrying.
It's very
That
cool,
that
isn't
thing
it?
is really cool.
I don't think
Um,
it's as good as the current one, but
I
it's
like
different and
the
that's
the grot
allowed.
with the saw.
There's a lot
That's
of
Yeah.
very
armpit
characterful.
involved in the model design.
Yeah,
I think he's
yeah.
cool. I like him. He's got proper doctory vibes, bit more doctor vibe kind of thing than the
I
old guy maybe. But like I've been like again, and we say this all the time, but it's really nice to see this model and hold it and move because it's got such a strong
Yeah,
silhouette when we're looking at it from the side. It'd be really interesting to hold it in different angles and see it. But it
I
looks cool.
think
I like him. And
yeah,
he's got a
I
gimp.
do.
He's got a
Yeah,
gimp. He's
yeah,
got
the
a gimp
gimp
action
gimp
with a
sways it. I mean,
with
the
a
I
little
don't think
guy's
it's a
great.
bad model by any means. I
And
just don't
hasn't
think
he
it's
got
quite up to the
he's
old
got a
one.
peg leg?
He has, yeah,
Yeah. The
pretty
the
cool.
thing I think it's like I said for the is it a mech? The mech
Hmm.
model? Um
Funny stumpy legs, you're gonna say.
no, I think the thing that kind of makes me doubt myself about this model and the mech model is the way that their cables and their equipment is like it doesn't look quite right for me. So on this Pain Boy, there's the tube going up to the tool, and it's just not misshapen in any way. It looks a bit too rigid. I
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
see what
Sort of
you're saying.
makes me,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I know. I think it's cool. I think it's a nice, simple
yeah.
model.
Oh, the weird boy.
Um,
That's what I was. Yeah,
the
I like
weird
him.
boy we discussed last episode, but yeah,
Yeah,
cracking model.
it's cool. A
He's
lot of
allowed
people.
to have rock because he looks like he's drawing the spiky rocks out of the
yeah,
ground.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
the
That's
That
rocks
is
are
okay.
cool.
the rocks are better utilized with him. Definitely, I'm going
It
to give
just
it a
looks,
solid
yeah, it just
six
looks
out of
too
ten.
symmetrical.
But
A
yeah,
lot
there's
of
a lot of people will love that model though. I
Yeah,
mean, it's
yeah,
going to divide people, but a lot of people will love that. And it's not exact. The great thing about orcs is it's not exactly hard to get alternative
yeah,
models for any of
yeah.
this, is it? So
no,
yeah, he's great.
easy.
Ah, these are,
New boys, so much character,
yeah,
so good, so how I imagined boys when I was painting stunty posed boys in third edition.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
great,
And some
slightly different in their kind of hunch to old ones. maybe.
I feel like
but...
I don't know. I feel like there is almost some kind of like nods here to those just like really original bog standard goths. You used to get like the boy. There's one guy down the sort of just the trousers and boots and an axe, basically, just cool poses and things.
They are classic. Yeah. I mean, this box set is basically the third edition box set.
Yeah. I mean, I just love the fact
the
that
third edition wasn't Orcs.
Second edition.
Yeah.
I love that they've gone straight back to goths. I like that they took the chance with the beast snaggers and the kind of snake bite style, but for me, goths are orcs and orcs are goths, and that's the way it should be. Then the Gretchen, which again, lots of character. I want to know where you guys fall on Eargate. Lots of comments online about how their ears aren't pointy anymore.
Yeah, I've seen that, and people drawing on. I saw something where some guy was drawing on ears, like kind of photoshopping them, and they did look much better. Yeah, they really did. So I'm going to, as seeing them with bigger ears in Eargate, I think the bigger ears would be better.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to milliput some extra.
You're going to milliput
and get some ears going.
Okay, and then the two vehicles. My fucking, I love Gorkamorka. Any excuse to mention it. I loved my war track. I think it was the second model I got for my orcs when I first started Warhammer. I bought an orc bike and I bought a war track, and oh man, this revamp is excellent.
It's sweet. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah,
the kind of the classic kind of grinning orc biker guy driving it is fucking it's just so cool.
So much character. You can sort of hear him breathing and laughing.
And these models are old as fuck.
Yeah, so good. I love the slack tracks. That's my favorite thing about this.
Yeah,
like the tracks aren't tight like they used to be, like almost perfect, like trapeziums. They've actually got a bit of slack to them, and they look a bit ramshackle. And I like the fact that instead of just a gun now, this guy seems to be firing like straight rockets.
Yeah, out of a piece of scrap iron, apparently, somehow. Yeah, it's wicked.
So all of that was great. All of that was kind of expected. And then the last thing was just excellent orc ingenuity. I don't even know if I like it, but it's great to see them take a risk and have some fun. The big mech Dakar rig. It's like an orc watched the wrong trousers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. It's just, at the end of the day, it's just a massive gun, essentially. It's got the legs on, but like the massive gun is kind of the star of the show, really. And the big gun's underneath. I think it's pretty cool. And if we're talking about the second edition box set, this would be the model, essentially, that would replace the cardboard cutout Dreadnought. And it's got that same kind of cartoony vibe, because obviously that was a drawing. So like, we talk about how cartoony the orcs are now. Could you think about then? It was an actual fucking cartoon that you had to play with. But I think it looks cool. It's got cool legs like the original. I like it.
The feet are really cool.
Yeah, that's it. All that stuff.
Yeah. Well, it's really interesting that it's almost as if our standout models have been the vehicles from a starter set. And that's pretty unusual, because they're normally pretty boring.
I'd agree with that. My favorite orc vehicle, my favorite orc model in this is the track, and I've got to pick the land speeder for the Space Marine side. So I'm with you there.
Yeah,
I think I like the Doctor guy best.
Okay,
I like him. Nice. I think. And as for the Blood Angels, I think my favorite ones. I like the rock under the heavy weapons guy.
Oh yeah.
Because that's a strong rock. I think that's probably my favorite, because it's least intrusive and works best with the pose and everything. So that would probably be my choice for the
best rock in the set. Yeah,
that's probably the best rock in the set.
As if you weren't rocking the boat enough with that comment, Stoney. There is one last thing we need to mention, because it is the biggest change in all of 11th. Forget the rules, forget Vanguard veterans. This is the first box set that doesn't have a combined singular lore and rules hardback book in it.
I don't know if that's true.
Is it not true?
I think the 5th edition had that little booklet in.
Oh, but did it have no lore? Was it
it was just rules
update? Well, that's fine, because this one has a separate lore book in hardback. about Armageddon.
What,
And then
in the box set?
in the box set, and then a smaller A5 rules book. The
Yeah,
two are
so
separate, which I have to agree makes a lot of sense rather than carrying a massive tome to your battles. But it does mark a change in our life, and you know, I'm not sure I
So,
can handle that.
so what it doesn't, it's got two books in, one with the lore of 40k and one that's just rules.
It's very difficult to understand, I know, Stoney,
Well,
but
it's
yes,
just
that
like,
is it. No, I know, I was bamboozled as well, but that is what is in this box.
I mean,
I,
remember the seventh edition rule book had the 3 books.
Oh, did
You
it?
remember that? Yeah. You had there was the law, there was the rules, and then there was another book which I can't
Are
remember
you
what it was.
sure?
but the rules
Yeah.
definitely still had lore in it, though, didn't it? It
No,
wasn't the first. Oh, I
no.
don't
And
know.
the fifth edition, I'm sure it was fifth edition or sixth edition. The it
Well,
had
perhaps this
a
wasn't as big a thing as I first
yeah.
thought,
The
boys.
the thing the
Oh,
thing
I
that
don't know. I don't like it. I'm not a fan of it.
I'm
I'm
not
glad you're with me,
I
Stoney.
am. One
I'm not
book.
I'm not
One
fussed
book.
about it.
One book.
But the thing
Four,
I wanted
five books.
to
Just
know, so the thing I wanted to know, right? Because fifth or sixth, whatever edition it was, I remember I had the small one, the A5 one, and then I bought in the Games Workshop an actual heavy rule book because I like, we obviously all like the big books. So I wanted to know whether they said, oh, I didn't know there was a hardback law book. I assume that would be sold separately, but yeah, because I'd like to have got a big fat rule book. I would have bought it separately. I'm not going to buy this box set, but I would have bought the rule book if it was a
Whoa,
big
whoa,
fat
whoa!
book.
That was going to be my next question. You're not going to buy the box set,
No.
the first box set since eighth that you haven't bought.
It'll be the first set since I didn't have fourth edition.
Okay, so but we're talking. This is a big move not to buy this box set. You always get the launch box.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things was that there wasn't a big fat rule book. If there was a big fat rule book in, I would have
Well, so
bought it
now
and
you
sold
want
the
the rule
models.
book.
Yeah, yeah. I want the rule book, but I don't think
Right.
it's I think we've seen similar things be done before. I'm not going to get because I don't those Space Marine models are just nothing really. The orcs are really nice, but I don't need orcs. So I'm out.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
I'm going to get it because I was always going to get it, and I promised the listeners that I
Yeah, you've
would
got to paint the
paint the
Space
Space
Marines.
Marines
Oh,
in
yeah.
the Exorcist chapter covers.
Yeah.
So that shall be done. One cool thing though is that the cards come in the box, which I quite like. You don't have to
Yeah.
print them off yourself.
Yeah,
If
that's
you
always
are
good.
buying this as someone who's new to 40k, that will make it so much easier. It's
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Yeah. Will it have dice? Wasn't that a big hoo-ha last time?
Oh no, there's no dice in it.
Oh,
Oh,
you
no.
can't buy a game with
Oh,
dice in
what?
it.
Oh
It'll
God.
be in the app.
Yeah,
We're not getting
it's
one
just got a
anymore.
QR code to something where you roll a dice online.
Rolling in my 6-4.
People always say to us, hey, Large Blast Podcast boys, when you're out jet setting the world on your glamorous lifestyles, what kind of hotel is it you like to stay in? Surely it's the Hilton or the Ritz or one of those other fancy ones. And to those people, we just laugh and say a true traveller always stays in a Necron 2 world. There's nothing we enjoy more than checking in by sneaking around a derelict technologically advanced spaceship, finding a cupboard full of wires to sleep in for the night, and settling down with some very good internet connection. So whether you're looking at a quick city break or a 60 million year slumber, the Necron Tomb world has you covered. Covered in luxury, that is, and if by luxury you mean oil and detritus. Don't forget to use code LARGEBLAST for a 10% discount on your buffet breakfast. So the Necrons, we know them, we love them. They're big Terminators from the past future, as old as time and as new as calculators. So, Welshie, you're our resident Necron expert. Why don't you tell us a little bit about these two worlds, what they live in, where they sleep, where they grow and play?
So yeah, essentially, Tomb Worlds are giant planet-sized cribs for entire worldwide populations of soulless robot people to live out what they call the Great Sleep, which I didn't actually know until today, and I think is actually quite cute. It's not a very Terminator-y phrase to say, "Oh, we're just going off for the Great Sleep." It's almost like something you'd hear on a yoga instruction book. Anyway, that Great Sleep lasted for 60 million years of slumber, which isn't as long as I thought it was, actually. We're talking, they went to sleep when the dinosaurs were still around.
It's funny you said that.
You'd say it was just an okay sleep.
Yeah, mild, mediocre.
It's so funny you said that, because earlier today I listened to a Necron thing at work, and I thought to myself, like, they keep talking about 60 million years, but how can I relate to that? And I just Googled, like, what was Earth like 60 million years ago to kind of understand. And I was, sort of in my head thinking, oh, it's going to be ages ago. But apparently it was almost the time of the extinction event.
Yeah, I think 65 million years is the Jurassic period, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah. Which is kind of near, it's not near history, but it's not that, yeah.
It feels a little bit disjunct with how much happens in the galaxy, but I guess the galaxy's a big place, and the dinosaurs certainly didn't know what was going on.
It's pretty long. It's still
pretty long. Yeah.
It's not like...
But I looked at a map of the Earth, and you can see the continents are kind of all there. You can kind of see they're kind of all joined together, but you can see them,
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I think there's a little bit in one of the Necron books, I think it's The Infinite and the Divine, where they kind of hint that they briefly visit Earth and see that there's these giant lizards and leave again. And
really,
I
love when they do stuff like that in lore. I never knew. So that's cool.
A
so
real
the Necrons come to
ancient
Earth.
aliens theorist. So that guy with the big alien hair is there, and he's like, "Oh, I told you that."
There was just one randomly naked man with golden flowing hair and big muscles, calling himself the Emperor of Dinosaurs.
So yeah. They're places to go to sleep. They're big cribs, and they were designed for protection and defense. They knew that they were going to sleep. It wasn't like a rushed thing. They realized their time was up. We've done whole episodes on Necron history, but to recap very quickly, the Necron tier were fleshy Xenos people that were fighting an extra special race called the Old Ones. The Old Ones were really strong, so the Necron tier team up with their gods called the Catan, and with the help of the Catan, they destroy the Old Ones. But part of the bargain with the Catan, which they didn't realize, is that in order to get their help, they're also going to eat all their souls and turn most of them into soulless robots. And when the Silent King realizes that they've all been turned into robots, and the Eldar are left, which were the creations of the Old Ones, Necron tier have basically lost a lot of strength fighting this war, and they think, fuck, we can't deal with these new Eldar or these Krorks or any of these other things that the Old Ones have invented, so we're going to go to sleep. So they design these massive tombs, often dug deep underground, and go into essentially some kind of like cryo sleep, except they don't need cryo sleep because they no longer have flesh, so they just switch themselves off in a cupboard for 60 million years, and they've designed these worlds to have loads of defenses.
Yeah, to really keep them safe, not just from aliens and all the Eldar and stuff that they've pissed off whilst they were awake, but also from like other Necrons as well. It sounds like they piss each other
haven't quite
off.
Gone to sleep yet, but I think in the end they all realise that it's probably time to go to sleep.
Yeah, but they're all very paranoid and sneaky, so that these are incredibly well defended, like you say, aren't they?
But
exactly.
I mentioned the what Earth looked like 60 million years ago. The thing I always thought about with the big tomb complexes is how they must have to have calculated the tectonic movement of the planet so that they wouldn't get crushed in their sleep. Like their huge tomb stasis buildings must be super strong to resist
that. And I think that shows, like, the Necrons are stupidly technologically advanced when they go to sleep and when they wake up. That 60 million years, no other race has caught up in technology. Maybe the Tau would give them a run for their money in 60 million years' time, but they go to sleep still more powerful than anything that exists when they wake up later. But it doesn't stop them losing loads of these tomb worlds. So loads of tomb worlds do get destroyed by things like asteroids and supernovas, and sometimes like warp shenanigans pulling entire tomb worlds into oblivion. So some of the tomb worlds are lost. It's not like every single one survives.
Right.
And many others are actually colonized at the surface level by like biospheres or even empires, which we'll probably mention a couple of in a bit. And those empires kind of don't know often that there's anything below them, there's any tomb worlds below them, until literally kind of massive tomb ships the size of continents start erupting from the ground in huge spouts of magma and volcanoes, and lots of planets just have floating dolmen gates like appearing on out of the ground, and suddenly Necrons and robots are everywhere. So they're pretty well hidden and they're pretty well defended. And sometimes even like reckless or naive exploration awakens some of these early or earlier than they wanted to be awakened. And that's when they get to meet the actual robotic defenders, which are the canoptech constructs. So if you're ever playing a game against someone who's got a Necron army, essentially, if they don't look like they're in the shape of people, that's probably because they weren't ever people and they're literally robots. So you've got your scarabs, you've got your wraiths, you've got all kinds of things that are just that massive centipede that Forge World used to make, which was a cool ass model, are all designed to monitor the tomb worlds, keep them safe from attackers, but also to like press all the right buttons at the right
So
time and fix any wires and stuff.
they're like AI machines.
Basically, yeah. And the AI machines, while they're asleep, are controlled by like a central AI program, which just keeps them in stasis unless they're awoken early. But I guess that like time and destruction means that however they awake, they often find themselves in more chaos than they went to sleep. So there's a lot of disorder when they wake up. And that is often to do with the fact that, like I say, some worlds are just destroyed in 60 million years. So when they went to sleep within their own dynasties, a Necron dynasty was pretty well regulated. It had a crown world, it had like some smaller like vassal state worlds and some edge worlds. And there was a very obvious hierarchy of the pharaoh at the top of a dynasty and overlords under him and lords under him. But sometimes what happens is only the overlord's planet wakes up and it hasn't got enough resources to support itself because its vassal worlds have been destroyed. And sometimes the crown world gets destroyed and only like manufactory world C wakes up, and the guy that was just like in charge of pressing the buttons on the like metal stamper goes, hang on a minute, I could be Pharaon, and plugs himself into Pharaon mode, and suddenly all of the standard troops belong to him and he rises up to become Pharaon. So there's definitely chaos and probably more civil war than even there was before they went to sleep as a result of everything being turned on its head.
It's very Egyptian, isn't it? Very ancient Egyptian. It's like
very Egyptian, and some of the names we'll get to later. But
Yeah.
that's
Oh God, the names, the fucking Necron names, man.
well, reading them all today, Stennis, really knackered me. I'm actually quite tired. I don't know about you boys. I could do with a
I
sleep.
feel pretty sleepy.
Great
yeah.
sleep, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sleepy.
How long are we going to go to sleep for?
Like 60 minutes or so.
Okay.
I'll just set an alarm. 60. How many zeros in 60? There we
Right,
go. I'll just
60.
go.
That sure is a long time from now.
So we've awoken 60 million years later. The dinosaurs are all gone. Sorry, boys, we missed them. We need to determine where we are. Look through this nice book here. Oh, Necron Tomb Worlds hardback. Let's check it out and see.
That's great. It's almost like it was designed for us.
Well, boys, I'll get us going. Let's check this out. I'll check the old first chapter here because this is about Drazak. You ever heard of Drazak?
No.
Maybe this place could be Drazak. This Drazak apparently used to be one of the high-ranking worlds of the Mayanarkh. How would you say this? Maynarkh.
Oh, Maynark.
Maynark. All right. Phew, fuck. All right. Okay, cool. We got there. Jesus Christ. This is the first word. This is like literally the first name that we've got to inside the fucking Necrons. All right, here we go. Drazak was the high-ranking world in the Maynarch dynasty before they all became Necrons, the pre-Necron times. And the Maynarchs were known for being super ruthless bunch of bastards. But before the War in Heaven and everything, they ruled with like an iron fist and they were feared and respected warriors and killed one of the Catans.
I think it's called Clandugor the Flayer.
That's it, Clandugor the Flayer. That's how badass they were. They took him out on their planet, which kind of fucked up their planet a bunch, and killed Clandor the Slayer. But as Clandor the Slayer was dying, he released the Slayer Code. Oh no! Which started to kind of affect them slowly over time.
Was that? Sorry, the Flayer Code, not the Slayer Code.
Yeah, so he released the Flayer Code. But yeah, so then after they'd defeated him, they couldn't kind of get rid of this urge to fight that they had. So they went on this kind of hooliganistic spree around the galaxy, just kind of fucking stuff up and being real bastards and just brutally murdering everybody they could. And particularly anything related to the old ones. They kind of had a sort of real hatred against them. Some other Necron dynasties, such as Artun and Slew-Tek, wanted the Silent King to destroy the Maynarch. What the fuck were they called? Again, the Mayan. What were they called? The Maynarch. The Maynarch. Because they were they'd become a bit of a liability, and he could have easily tricked them into some kind of deadly trap. But the Silent King maintained that they were useful and that he had a plan for them. During the Great Sleep, large amounts of cryptech constructs and solar manipulator arrays protected their two worlds from danger. But it was also around this time that the Maynarch nobles started to become even more paranoid and began to create their own weapons of war. And it was around this time that they created the Tombstalker and
it's a Canthrite.
The Maynarch finally emerged from their sleep to coincide with two suns going supernova, which was just kind of very dramatic and cool of Trazyn, I guess. Or no, the Silent King would have planned that, I suppose. But then, so now their world is only lit by like a tiny little bit of sunlight. But upon awakening, some of the guys woke as flayed ones that happened to them during their sleep. But it wasn't like a huge amount of them at first. It kind of just started to creep slowly through the ranks, which made them all very nihilistic and kind of like the ones that hadn't been infected and kind of hate all human life. To the point where they almost kind of became indistinguishable from the mad ones. Some people think some of the higher echelons, the nobles, never even succumbed to the virus at all. Despite the odds, through the use of tremendous violence, they still managed to maintain some kind of form of order. Drazdak became known as the Bone Kingdom, baby. And the place just is basically like a big fucking mess. It's just like a massive dead city. All the wars and supernovas did a real number on the place.
It's where like any flayed ones that happen to like succumb to the Flayer curse in other places, other factions get sent there, don't they? Yeah. It's like a kind of pilgrimage center for all of the like fucked up, blood dripping, skin wearing Necrons. They all kind of arrive at this place, Drazak, and they kind of just get exiled there. The ones with the Flayer curse, right? Because
it's I don't know if we mentioned as well, because it's in the Ghoul Stars, so it's like miles away from anywhere. Okay. So it really is like shipping the unwanted ones off to like about as far away as possible.
But they do get access to like the interdimensional slip thing, don't they? Because flayed ones can just materialize on the board, so they come out of their like pocket dimension.
Yeah, they've got one of those. The gates, the thingy gates.
They've got a dolmen gate, but they can just like phase in and out of reality because they can go into like a pocket dimension.
So the dolmen gates are like their version of a webway.
They're like Stargates basically. It's a total rip off of Stargate.
It's like big fax machine sort of thing.
Yeah. And their leader's called Val Ghoul, isn't he?
Well, that's it, because like that's the kind of the thing about the planet as well, is because like the flayed ones, they sort of hated by the other Necrons, and the flayed ones even like hate each other. So they don't really like stick together in like groups or like make towns or anything. They just sort of like generally tend to kind of wander about in sort of loose herds, but they're all kind of brought together by this guy, like you say, Welsh, what's he would call Val Ghoul?
Val Ghoul, I think.
Yeah. Who was initially high-ranking guys in the Maynarchs, who was a fella called
Zen Baker.
I'm just going to, whatever, I'm just going to put that in text to speech. How's anyone supposed to read that? That's not a word. He was the only one that kind of kept it all together after the infection and took on the title of Valgor, which means fallen lord. And from his throne of splintered bone and tattered skin, Valgor rules over the carnage with his one good eye, retaining only a small measure of his sanity, although it might have got to him in other ways. They think he might be like mad in different ways. And basically, the way that they kind of him and his remaining sort of entourage like rule the world is that they know there's no way to like appeal to anybody. Like give them anything they want. They don't want money or nothing. So every couple of months, when the kind of supply of flesh on the planet is getting low, they take them out on these harvest runs where they just go and get as much meat as possible to bring back, and then the flayed ones just basically wander around cutting the meat up into pieces till it's too small to use anymore, and then they have to go back out again.
There's a brilliant bit in one of the Necron books where they go and try and get some help of the flayed one planet, and they get there, and you know the massive Forge World Necron thing with like the big legs, the big like walker thing. It looks like a giant scarab beetle.
Yeah.
They get there, and all of the flayed ones are just stood underneath this thing, and this thing's just walking around like dropping meat every now and then, and there's like a whole herd of flayed ones like doing like a blade blood rave underneath this massive construct, just like looking up and dancing and just like, and every now and then a bit of meat lands on a flayed one's head and they get really excited. They're like, "Whoa, I got the meat, I got the meat."
Oh man, that sounds like, well, they're happy then. It sounds it's
Yeah,
always
I think
good to
it's
see.
great.
Sounds like a great old time. It's just like the perfect place for flayed ones. But the whole planet sounds fucking rank. No one's had
Yeah.
to tidy up since the war, and it's just covered in meat and bits of like, because the flayed ones just wander around just chopping up meat. It sounds grim.
Yeah, stuffing it inside them.
Mm. They've also got this kind of weird, because they all the ships and stuff, all the old war fleet that they used to have, the dudes used to have, just was like left in space and just kind of rotted and turned to shit. So they've got this kind of like ring of just like trash as well, just like floating around the outside of the planet.
It's like the planet on Wally, right? It's like Wally Earth, but with blood and guts.
So, yeah,
I don't think we'd want to wake up there, that's for sure.
No, so hopefully we haven't woken up there.
Broke boys don't deserve no pussy. I know that's right.
Have you got any ideas where we are, Matt?
Well, just sort of flicking through the book, and this little leaflet fell out of the book for Dawn of War Dark Crusade. I was just reading it as Stoney was...
Discount code.
Yeah, I was just reading it as Stoney was introducing us to... what was the planet called?
Oh, some unpronounceable bullshit. Let's not get hung up on it.
And this caught my eye because it's the Dawn of War Dark Crusade is set on an imperial civilized world in the Segmentum Ultima called Cronus. And it's actually a contested world between the Imperium and the Tau Empire. And it's large temperate climate, lots of sea, colonized by humanity in the dark age of technology, pretty civilized civilization as far as the Imperium goes. It was actually a scene of some battles during the Horus Heresy. Potentially Titans fought on the surface of the planet, but approximately 200 years ago from the current date in 40k, the Tau Empire actually managed to capture Kronos, the planet, and they, fighting for the greater good, as we know, actually allowed the human population to remain on world, as well as some Tau people moving in. The Tau built a new capital city, but for 200 years, the resistance, I'm proud to report, continued to harass and disrupt the Tau Empire in their illegal occupation. And the locals were then joined by accident or by fate by various Imperial Guard forces who made planetfall and helped the resistance. And they also began finding relics on the planet's surface. Relics, I think the insinuation is from the Horus Heresy. There were rumors of massive Titan weapons buried in rubble and in mountains, as well as Imperial artifacts. But they, because they were starting to find this stuff and they were using it to help defeat the Tau, they started digging. And they started digging more and more, and they surprise, it was actually a Necron tomb world all along. The human archaeological
classic.
team, classic, yeah.
Never dig, build on top. But do you remember way back in our governor's episode where we were like concrete it all over, just concrete the planet, keep continually
we did,
concrete it.
The human archaeological team end up opening the tombs. They do. I think they find Necron stuff prior to this, so they kind of know there's an ancient civilization there. I think in the lore, a lot of the tomb worlds are discovered like this, but the human population, the Imperium, kind of know that they're there. They are interested in them, but they never sort of join the dots up that they're spread throughout the galaxy. These Necron tomb worlds. So they kind of know they're Xenos, but they keep digging, and they end up accidentally, deliberately breaking into the tomb itself. And of course, the Necrons awaken to defend their tomb complexes. And then the Eldar come from Uthway to fight the Necrons because they hate the Necrons. And then the Orcs come because it's a massive war.
This sounds
And
like the
then-
plot of a computer game.
Yeah, it does sound like the plot of a computer game, which is with very unrealistic 7
How
armies
can
in
we
total.
get all of the armies to the same planet?
Exactly. The word bearers turn up because, why not? And then, of
As long
course,
as
the
you pay
Blood
the
Ravens
DLC, they all keep coming and coming.
And the Blood Ravens come, and you end up fighting a Necron Lord and the Catan Shard of the Nightbringer. Apparently, the Blood Angels, the Blood Ravens put a nuclear device at the heart of the catacombs and blow up the Lord and the Catan, and the Necron tombs are sealed for all eternity, apparently. Kronos is liberated by the Imperium, although the population is evacuated. So Kronos has got a sealed Necron tomb complex, supposedly sealed, and the planet has been evacuated. Its human population has gone. So it seems like quite an opportune world for Necrons to reawaken from, if you can get out of that tomb. And who knows? Who knows if you can?
Cash rules everything around me. Queen, get the money. Dollar bill, yo.
Matt, let me tell you about a very different tomb world.
Okay.
A tomb world called Simia Oraculae, which is the Latin for brass monkey, because it's really, really cold there. And on this tomb world was deployed the Valhallan 597th.
Is it actually called Brass Monkey?
Yeah, it's called
Oh, right.
Simia Oraculae.
Someone had fun.
Nice.
Excellent.
So on there is deployed the Valhallan 597th, because who else are you going to send to a freezing cold world?
Yeah.
And they're deployed in order to protect some Mechanicum assets who are looking for Promethium. And not only are they there deployed, but so is one Commissar Caiaphas Kane.
Oh, yes.
And it turns out, Matt, that in a very, very different manner to your story there, these AdMech looking for Promethean, what they do is they dig down. They keep digging down. And they happen to stumble upon a big old Necron tomb. Oh. And you know what your boy Caiaphas Kane does? He redirects the entire Promethium reserves from the planet into a small hole into the tomb and
Excellent.
blows it up.
Yeah.
So
See, that's how you
it's
do it.
almost like they return to this. And I'll tell you about another planet, Matt, in a very different story. This is from the computer game Space Marine 2. It's
Oh,
a planet
yes.
called Demirium,
Yeah.
where some Imperials happen to have settled, and Chaos come. And do you know what Chaos do when they get there, Matt?
Do they dig?
They dig
Gotta
down.
dig. You've got- It's the
looking for
first
some
thing.
artifacts.
The minute you arrive, you've got to dig. It's just how you do.
And they have to call in the Space Marines, and the Space Marines shut down 1,000 suns, and it kind of blows up the planet. So I always laugh that if it isn't Necrons, it's Gene Stealer Cult. Whenever you're reading, like, one of the more fluffy novels in 40k.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
always a primary faction, and they dig down, and it's either Necrons or it's Gene Stealer Cult. Like,
What there was that one where it was the where Fulgrim was digging up an old dreadnought. You just never dig, just never go
Just
and
don't
dig.
dig.
It's like,
Yeah.
don't go
I
digging.
yeah, you mentioned the Space Marine 2. I really enjoyed that when you play the campaign and you sort of going down into the mines, and you start noticing Necron stuff in the walls and bits,
Yeah.
and then there's like Canatep spiders or whatever they're called dotted
You just
around.
notice
Yeah.
them. It's really
And
cool.
yeah.
It's really cool. So I thought I'd better mention this section here, guys, which are the main crown worlds of some of the biggest dynasties. We've got Mandragora, which is the crown world of the Sautek dynasty. So this is home of Imhotep the Stormlord, one of the famous Necron characters. And this place seems great. So when they went to sleep, they were like the biggest dynasty. They hadn't sent their reserves off to the war yet, so they went to sleep with like a full planet ready for war, and that's why the Stormlord is always kind of ready to go. He's such like a big player in modern 40k because when they wake up, their planet has already got all its reserves ready to go. So that's the Sautek dynasty. You've also got the dynasty I play from the crown world of the Nihilak, which is called Geddon, which is Geddon, the planet of shadows. And this planet is super well defended because the whole planet is in a pocket dimension. So it's actually only accessible to the physical realm like 2 hours every year. And they've got this relic in there, which I didn't even realise. So I was looking at this today. In the centre of the central palace on Geddon is a giant reptilian Xenos head, which they call the Ithseer. And the Ithseer can tell the future. So they cut off this giant Xenos's head, placed it in the center of the room, and like Minority Report style, plugged in some screens to its head, and they all sit around like watching the future predictions for their own dynasty, and they like play off of it ahead of time, which is why they get all the kind of like movement ahead of time rules on the game and stuff.
Oh, right.
They're being led by this giant crocodile head in the center of their planet.
And that's not an old one.
Well, maybe it is one of the old ones, because no one ever really knows what the old ones were. So maybe they were like a collective race, weren't they, rather than just one thing.
It's often kind of suggested they're a bit like lizard men or those frogs, isn't it? The slam,
like the slam.
or something.
Yeah.
There's a few more I found as well that are in here that seem quite interesting. We've got Zapanek. So this is led by a guy called Thazar, who's the self-proclaimed Pharaon. So he's one of these guys that woke up and he was just like a standard manufacturing lord guy that still had a little bit of his personality, realised there was no Pharaon around and promoted himself to Pharaon, plugged in his USB port, and kind of goes a bit rogue. He decides that he's going to call himself the Pirate King, the Pirate King of the Reeve world, and essentially is a pirate. He's like got a hat. He wears a pirate hat.
Nice.
He goes out and he scavenges stuff, and he sounds like a really
sells dodgy DVDs, that sort of stuff.
He's mates with the Red Corsairs. He does a little bit of dabbling with the Dark Eldar. It does say in the information about him that when he woke up, he still hasn't recognized that the humans on his planet are actually intelligent beings and just kind of ignores them. So he runs his whole like Reeve world out of this planet without accepting that humans are even like intelligent enough to be classed as sentient beings, and just kind of leaves them to it on the other side of the planet. So fun.
What's the human habitation of his planet like? Are they all like?
I think they're all a bit like caveman style, never kind of touched.
No.
Okay.
Fair play.
Yeah. It's not like the Imperium there.
Yeah.
The thing that caught my eye when I was looking at the list of Team Worlds was some of them say human population harvested.
Yes.
What does that mean?
So that's when they wake up and they just go, there's no point these guys being here. They send the Canuptics out, and the Canuptics like scour the entire world for resources. So they'll just mill the humans for carbon source or render them down to fat so they can burn stuff for the engines and stuff.
Take their hair to make wigs.
Destroyed. Yeah. Sending them off to the flayed ones for a little bit of cash.
Yeah. we mentioned Space Marine and Dawn of War, but also there's the Mechanicum game with the excellent soundtrack, which
Yeah.
is basically set in a. There's a second one coming out, I think, isn't there? The set in a
So
tomb world, and you play Mechanicus, essentially digging around in a Necron tomb complex.
when will they learn?
I don't know. You sort of mentioned it earlier. Are there many tomb worlds where um, no digging is involved? Like where the Necrons actually awaken and
Not that I could find like report, I guess, because quite often they're quite swiftly harvested. Like if you happen to just if you're not
okay, if
slowly
you're not
awakening like one chamber at a time,
right,
if
yeah,
if you happen to have a civilization on a planet that's decided to press full wake up
yeah,
protocol, you're not gonna survive. Like there's no army that would survive. Like even on like one of the 500 worlds, if an entire Necron tomb world wakes
yeah,
up,
yeah.
they're dead. There's
It
nothing anyone can do about it.
it kind of it reminded me of the 2005 Tom Cruise War of the Worlds film where the tripods come up from the ground all
Yeah,
over the planet, and yeah, and it's over
Mm.
pretty quickly.
But did
yeah.
were we not? You know how there's some where the tomb world there's people on the surface of the tomb world or whatever, and like we said, that pirate guy and that sort of thing. Like it's not they have to choose to kill the
Yeah.
humans. It's not like they're them waking up sort of floods it with radiation or something. You know,
No.
like that doesn't make the world uninhabitable. They just happen to have chosen uninhabitable worlds because they figured that would be the best place to hide themselves.
Yeah, I think so. It's a combination. And like the Lords all have different personalities now, and they lean more into that in modern fiction
Mm.
and the modern codex. So I read my third edition codex before this, and I read my ninth edition codex.
Yeah.
And like they've clearly done more in recent stuff of like having the nobles with more personality. It was
Yeah,
always
yeah.
written that the nobles retained some sense of their soul, and the standard troopers were basically brain deleted.
Mm.
And they lean more into that now. There is one tomb world called Sarkon, which is particularly cool. So, do you remember I said that, like, um, in charge of looking after them is a kind of like planet-wide protocol, like a engineered protocol that just keeps the constructs running while everyone's asleep?
Yeah.
Well, on this tomb world Starcon, it gets massively irradiated, and all of the memory banks of the entombed Necrons are deleted. And in a kind of howl move, the program that's running the Canoptex kind of takes control, and downloads itself into a Necron body. But it's only programmed for one thing, and that's to like maintain order and like grow the tomb world underground. And once it gets free and into this body in a kind of like AI transcendence type thing, it just starts expanding. So the center of this Sarkon realm is calls itself the Sarkoni Emperor, uh, and is basically just expanding through space, absorbing two worlds into its kind of central program control. And if it gets to planets that have sentient beings, it uses these things called mind shackle scarabs, which attach to like brain stems of sentient beings, and it puts them under its control as well. So
All
it's this
right.
essentially AI protocol that's come alive into a Necron body and is conquering the galaxy, which I think is pretty cool.
I read about one world called Sovereign,
Yeah,
which was a hugely successful agri world, exporting lots of food output. Had a small population, but the population was quite well versed in operating machinery for the farming to grow all this food. And the machinery was pretty good, so the AdMech were helping them. So they had time on their hands, and they used to do lots of artwork, imperial artwork, and devotion to the emperor. So it was quite a civilized world again. In the Jericho sector, uh, lots of neighboring planets and star systems started to fall to anarchy and chaos. This is a few thousand years ago, and Sovereign, because of the civilization of the planet, being so civilized, and the imperial artwork, it stays loyal. But for about 1,000 years, it's sort of isolated from the Imperium, and slowly becomes more feudal. And that feudal society starts being noticed by a heretic, so a dark magos in the 41st millennium, and he uses that to his advantage, and he begins to plant a contagion in the world's water supply and controlling the feudal lords of the planet. This contagion is dormant until he's ready to activate it, and it's got into the human population. And in the year 193.809.M41, he activates this because a Death Watch kill team arrives because they've sort of noticed suspicious activity, and the human population is transformed into blood-crazed lunatics and just chaotic vermin, and through various stages, an exterminatus procedure is ordered by the Inquisition, who've arrived to sort of deal with the situation, and the entire human population is eradicated from the surface, as we know, and the ability for the planet to supply food to the sector is lost. So the surface is destroyed, and the same Dark Magos who inadvertently created this, he uses it as a base to hide basically his clan. So his Chaos Space Marines
Let me
hide
guess.
there.
Does he do some digging while he's there?
Yeah, because he's a heretic, he starts to find. So that apparently the exterminatus procedure has
It involves a bit of
uncovered.
digging, initial digging. If you're going to exterminatus, you've got to take a few
You've
ground
got to dig a
samples.
hole. No, the weapon systems from the orbiting spaceships and the damage to the planet has uncovered some interesting looking structures, which were hidden for thousands of years by this verdant agri world, and the world is just the firestorms have just swept all this carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, so the sky and the weather is all messed up. So the heretic can kind of do all this digging in secret, and nobody sees him doing it. And it's actually this chaos clan that uncovers these Necrons, rather than the Admech, which most stories tend to be. And the heretics learn how to disarm the trap systems in the tombs. So they've entered the tombs and they work out how to disarm the traps. And then the Inquisition begin to find out what they are doing, and the Death Watch periodically come to try to stop the heretics from digging around, but they continue to dig. They just can't resist digging deeper. And the Xenos are awoken, the Necrons are awoken. It's chaos fighting Necrons, and it's part of the Shur-Bekar dynasty, and they're awoken. I can't remember where I read where this is from. I think it's from a different computer game. It may even be from one of those phone games, and I think this is part of the story of whatever this game it's.
They should call the Necron industry.
So the
I was just reading about the Shubakar dynasty.
The Shubakar dynasty.
They're pretty. They've got a pretty long and storied history by the looks of things.
Yeah,
we could definitely do a whole episode on the dynasties.
Dynasties,
yeah.
There's quite a lot of stuff with them.
And in terms of lore, that's kind of where it ends. I don't know whether that's the end of the game or whether that's setting up the lore behind the game. So you
got to download that next DLC, like Stoney said. So someone else needs to arrive and start farming.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, but I thought it was quite interesting in the way that it was chaos uncovering
that's
the
cool.
Necrons.
Speaking of the Shurbaderg dynasty, the Shur-Bekar dynasty, I just wanted to quickly give a shout out to the Hollow Sun which is a tomb world built inside a star, which
that
is
sounds cool.
which was done by this guy called the Crimson Scythe. Who's basically super paranoid and doesn't want people to come and bother him, basically. So he lives inside this sun. And the Death Watch are kind of aware of it and are worried that if it fully wakens and reaches its full potential, that it could destroy everything. Which is pretty cool. But it's also kind of said that they think that the whole thing is like a kind of a wonder of technology to be able to sort of exist inside this sun. Like there's sort of speculation that it's been made, that the sun itself was made by an engineer. Is pretty cool.
I mean, that is the kind of level of power we're talking about in Necron, isn't it? I mean, they destroyed star gods. Like they are able to start and stop suns. One of their planets, the only notable thing about it, really, Thanatos, is that it's where the celestial array is. I mean, these are guys that have voodoo doll of the entire galaxy that they can like poke and destroy planets, and then they go out of like reality from their like voodoo doll.
And you mentioned the dynasties, but there's definitely an episode in the Necron tier, so what they were before, and their wars and why they ended up doing what they did to themselves. Because the power that they had was extreme.
It makes sense to be scared of the guy that lives in the sun, but I probably wouldn't be too scared of the planet Sadun, which every 33 weeks it was kind of went to sleep just before the war was over, and it was sending troops to fight the war every 33 weeks. And at some point in the Great Sleep, the coordinates were lost, but it still produces troops. So every 33 weeks, it sends a legion of immortals to a random coordinate within the galaxy. And they just turn up there and get off and fight. And it's been doing it for like thousands of years since it woke up, which is hilarious. Less hilarious is, Zeraz, the really cool model, the guy pulling the guy's like brain juice out that came out when 8th came out. His world is called Xantagoria. And it's a world obsessed with reversing biotransference. So this is a world where they go out and they kidnap any living beings that they can find and just study them. And it's called the Blood Vats of Xantagoria because they're just ripping people apart trying to work out how to turn themselves back into humans. It's like an entire laboratory planet. It's like Fabius Bile's wet dream. It's,
nice.
Pretty grim.
Just think if they look inside enough people, then eventually one of them will have an instruction book or something inside that they can use.
Yeah. And those are ones that are just planets. The last one that I found was called the Labyrinth of Thanatep, which is, how on Solomnis, which is a planet we don't need to go into because we've done a whole episode on Traz in the Infinite, but he's got a Tesseract vault, right? It's like a Tesseract cube. We can suck things in. This is a Tesseract cube the size of a planet.
Excellent.
It's a planet-sized Tesseract cube. And it's a prison for the worst things the Necron tier and Necrons ever faced. So somewhere out there is a planet full of planet-sized prison full of things that even the Necrons couldn't destroy. But that's pretty worrying.
So they just, because they couldn't destroy them, so they just had to imprison them.
You just locked them up, and kind of like their stasis stuff. So
they are just like, every time we do any Necron lore, they are probably one of the most probably the most powerful race in the galaxy, really, with like all their clobber and stuff. But they just can't. I think we've mentioned before, they just can't get it together as a whole army.
No, I mean, it's one of those things that like GW blue balls you on the lore, right? Because you had the Silent King coming back. That was the big story at the start of 8th edition. Silent King's coming back. He's going to unite all the warring dynasties. He's seen the Tyranid threat. Necrons are going to take over the galaxy. And you go, oh, cool, that sounds exciting. And then they don't really ever follow up on it because they realise that to follow up on that actually happening would end the storyline, right?
Yeah, exactly. You have to be super careful how they implement them, really.
They are OP at the end of the day, but I think that's what makes them cool. And the Tomb Worlds, like we've seen, super varied.
Do
You
they
can
appear
anything
much?
with them.
Do they appear much? Well, actually, we'll just be talking. They appear loads in the lore. It sounds like anytime anyone's digging, then they're going to appear. It sounds like
They've always, for years, they've appeared since they came out, which I think 5th edition was the first codex, was it, for Necrons around then?
Fourth.
4th maybe. Anyway, since they've always been the kind of foil to the Imperium in novels, but in the past 10 years, they've had novels with their own characters, like the Infinite and the Divine, and there's a trilogy of which there's 2 of 3 out about uh, Necron Lord trying to make his way to Pharaon, and I think they're really interesting because they can play with high sci-fi concepts that you don't get to piss around with very much with the Imperium, like time travel and time stopping and time warping and black holes and suns starting and ending. And I think it just gives a different dimension to 40k to have these characters. And a lot of them are fan favorites, like Orokan and Trazin and Imatech have always been like
Yeah.
big models within the scene, and a lot of personalities.
They've really been able to establish those personalities quite well.
yeah.
And they always have brilliant accents whenever they're in animations. The posh British accents are just great.
And I do think that one of the cool things about them is because I think that it could so easily have become kind of bland, the Necron lore, and some of the early Necron stuff. It felt really confused about what they were and things. But leaning into more into this kind of pharaoh-y type stuff, it does really give them each one of these guys has their own real unique feel, and each kind of lord and his kind of gang and his planet and everything. Tomb World, they feel very unique to themselves, so that's really cool.
I think if I was going to pick one of these, I'd probably pick that Sadon one because there's a chance I could hop away on one of those ships every 33 weeks.
That's true, to some completely
true.
random
You
Somewhere
could
else.
end up
Yeah,
in the
somewhere
middle of
nice.
nowhere.
Send me off to Ultramar. Hop off.
Do you get a return ticket? Do they zap you back in another 30 days or something? Or is it, because how's that sustainable if you just keep blasting your dudes out into random
I
locations?
think it just keeps making them as well. Like,
Oh,
but
okay,
I don't know
it
how
keeps
you're
making
making. You can't make more Necrons because Necrons are like
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
to one
have the-
Necrons.
yeah.
It's
So
like a dude.
I guess it does run out at some point.
I'm going to. I hope we wake up inside that sun one. That sounds cool. We'll live inside there for a little bit. Yeah,
I mean,
sounds
no one's gonna go digging in there, are they?
digging in the sun.
Digging,
No, I mean
digging in
it'd
the
be
sun.
yeah.
That's
Shovel.
like the best
Oh, shit.
anti-digging Tomb World.
I've just realised we missed one.
What's
What?
that?
Someone that did go digging and is very relevant. And Stoney, when you posted it, I realised I did know what you meant when you suggested Medusa, because there is one very, very important Tomb World, and that is the Tomb World of Medusa, which is where Pharis Menace was brought up, and he fought the dragon, the shiny metal dragon, and held it deep in the lava to kill it, and that's where he got his living metal necrodermis arms.
Oh, that's right.
So even the Imperium got gifts from the Necrons
So
Yeah,
so
before he lost
Medusa
his head.
is or has a tomb underneath, but is that not awoken then?
That's the
We don't know.
implication, but it's never
Okay.
really been beyond
No.
him strangling a shiny
It just
dragon.
it spitting
Because-
out that
Getting metal
one
arms.
shiny dragon, which it doesn't seem to appear in any of the other lore, and for
Yeah.
him to wrestle with his arms and get cool liquid arms.
Because like you said, they're not necessarily all massive tomb worlds. They could be like offshoots,
Exactly.
different worlds. Yeah, yeah, because they have the protocols of how they awaken the tomb world once someone does dig in and get into them. They have their defenses. They have the AI canoteps and stuff that help repair, and they might attack. I just remembered from gameplay that I've seen of the Mechanicum game, when your tech priests deploy from their ships into the tomb complex, I think you kind of have to get around the Necrons, you have to kill some Necrons, you have to always maintain, you're always trying to not get the alarm level too high so that you don't awaken all of the other Necrons. So you kind of have got to do all these. I'm pretty sure that's how the game
That feels like
works.
a conceit for the game. There's no way the Necron tech isn't picking you up at the instant you cross the threshold.
Well,
exactly.
I didn't. I read a thing on. I didn't read it properly, but I just sort of skim read it where there was like a list of protocols that they have where they don't necessarily all awaken if there's a threat. They kind of go through stages of defenses. So I don't know whether that's made up or whether that's in the codex, but
I feel like I ruined our nice outro there by starting talking about Ferris Manus. I feel like we closed the conversation and we opened it again.
Yeah, if the moral of the story, really, don't dig, never look. Look to the stars. We don't need to dig. We don't need to
Put your shovels away.
Put your shovels away. Get your binoculars out. It's time for a new era of not stumbling upon Necrons every time you're trying to grow an award-winning marrow or whatever the fuck it is you were doing. So next time you're lost in the far reaches of outer space, why not give Necron Tomb Worlds a try? We guarantee you'll sleep like you're dead. Just tell them your old buddies from the Large Blast podcast sent you and you should be fine. And we'll see you next time. Thanks for listening.